gonna show you how to do some sampling in the most basic form. Uh, Obviously, there's videos out there that can show you how to do this way better. I just wanted to show you some little tricks that I use. It's not mind blowing at all. It's actually really simple. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. I guess I got this sample here from Leave It to Beaver, and that's actually one of my guilty pleasure shows I like to watch every now and then just to like laugh because it's funny and silly to me. I don't understand how people really lived with that kind of deal before. Like, why? Why would you watch something like this? This is ridiculously innocent, but I guess that's just the day and age. So, pretty much how I listen to a sample is basic. Obviously, I listen to it and I'm like, pick some parts out. So I would go like, I like when he did that one part in that song, like, right? So you already see like where it's going, right? Obviously, I got my cuts in here, and I don't know why I don't do this. This is a personal thing, but in Ableton, try your best to like consolidate your clips, like Control J, consolidate it, and you can get rid of all this extra crap. That way, you can play with the sample a little more, like stretching it or cutting it down some more or whatnot. You can. I turn my warps off for sampling, cause I don't know. Sometimes the warp works, sometimes it doesn't. There's rare opportunities where I really could use warp, but for the most part I just turn it off and just kind of like let the sample just go on. If it sounds kind of lazy, then I'll just work around it, which is probably not a good deal, but I like the way it sounds. So you zoom in and then you kind of cut where you want it to begin. I zoom in super tight so I can like avoid that before the hit comes in on like a certain kind of note. Before the hit comes in, I avoid that pop. So to play you an example of that, I wonder if I can do this. See that? And there's nothing going on with it. I didn't pre-mix it, but this is straight from that. But you heard the little like come up, like the I guess it's an arpeggio, like the bad singing, and then right. See, and with this part, since I know I'm gonna put it in a drum rack, I get it as close as I want to where I want to use it, and then I take it to the drum rack, and whoa, I guess I only used like 3 sounds. All right, so we'll go here, use my Launchpad V1 for the win, or not. Give me a second. Go in here, MIDI sync, Launchpad, right? I'm plugged up. Oh, I'm a dumbass. Okay, so it's over here. I'm not using this side. So in here, I go in and I do like my finer cuts. So I guess you can consider like this part being my like, okay, basic idea. I want this part cuts, because dragging it from your basic cut over to your drum rack, sometimes the window switches out. So I just like, I get kind of close, and then in here, I just refine it a little more. Let me bring it in some more so that way you guys can see it. So I bring it in a little more, kind of get really close to it. And in here I can mess with the tuning. Like I got this down like 5 notches, but I got everything here 5 notches down so I can play with it. And that's simply just me mapping coffee, it's making me go faster. Mapping it to the transpose to macro 1, which is just like I don't know, say it, I'll show you. I want this sample here, right? I drag it in there, and that just works, right? And let's say I want to play with the sample tuning of it, but I want to have it match everything else. I always turn my chokes on too, because I don't want bleeding. Not for this one, definitely not for this one. So I click map, scroll over, click on that thing, scroll back over, right? Oh, well, click that, scroll back over, and now these are highlighted. So you just click on what you want to map, and then you just click map, right? And you can unmap it too. So, interesting. And then I just click on that map button again. And with everything, I can just like so that way I don't have to go in and tune every single one to the same pitch if I'm going to use it in that same pitch and still play around with it. I can just fuck. 5. Wait. -5. Right. So I can just like just do it and not have any issues. I don't need this. Take that out of there. So now I got my sample, and now it's just coming up with a little pattern. That's all on your discretion. That's your sound. You pick your pattern, you pick your cadence, and you just go at that. Right? And you can make those any size you want, obviously, because it's your cadence, your pattern. You can do whatever you want. I like to leave a little trail at the end of some of mine, just in case like I want to use the extra parts and I don't want to have to make too many cuts, and I'll just like and you heard like at the end of this there was like that brief hesitation there. It's clearly just me not hitting it on the right beat. Like it's pretty close to a good cut right there. And I usually turn the snap on or off. I usually turn the snap off, but I had to turn it on for this one because this part right here clips or it does that little popping sound whenever the sample is done playing. It'll pop a little bit, and I didn't want that, so I just turned the snap on and just kind of went with it. It's no problem, no big deal. I could have messed with the frequencies a little bit, but didn't. I wanted it to sound kind of dirty, because I don't know. I like the way that a dirty sample sounds whenever you put some like really banging drums on it. So after you mess around with your pads and your samples and whatnot, you can turn it into stretch this out. You can turn it into something like this. Listen to it, just get a vibe off of it. See where you want to go with it. Right? So you can just listen to it, get a vibe, go off of it, just like kind of envision it, make sure it doesn't sound whack. Obviously, traits that you need to have when you make a sample. As you can see, there's two basses here. One is a sliding bass, and the other one's like the standard hip hop sub bass. Comes with Ableton. I don't like it. I just use my own. I was like, man, something about this bass doesn't feel right, so I just made my own. Simply just an 808. It's like I guess it's just a bass note, just a really heavy bass note, and I just kind of messed around with it, did some little stuff to it. And I like it because It's just really punchy, especially after you put the effects on there, and then you make it mono with a little bit of wide. That's me things. That's me things. That's me things right there. So there you go. And I got the DC on that. But if you want to do this thing though, just keep in mind that if you're going to take an 808 and make it into like your instrument, that way you can mess around with it. Be sure to cut it where the waves are meeting at a substantial area. This is clearly like when you push the note here, you initiate the note there, and it loops here, right? So you just, where these waves scoop up, that's a tip, and then it comes down, go right there, all right? And then you don't really need the whole thing. You can just come about here, right? It's going to sound the same. And it also depends on the duration of which you're going to be using that note as well, but that's, I think that's synthesis talk. We're not doing that. It's supposed to be really basic, so I don't want to go over anybody's head. But yeah, here's how the old one sounded. Yeah, I could have done more with it, which I feel like I have. Well, kinda. I could have done way more with it, but I didn't. But here's the second one. And you hear how, like, when it gets to the end here and it clips a little bit, like it does that pop thing that I was talking about. You just kind of have to mess with it, move it over just to her. This is the most tedious part, because you have to, like, you have to find that middle ground. And ooh. And I'm not gonna mess with this too much because it'll be really annoying. But essentially, you're gonna be just like, if you really want to get real deep into it, rip all headphones users. But that's essentially what you're gonna be doing, especially if you want to like do some really cool stuff with it. But you gotta fine tune everything. That's pretty much sampling. Get your sample, make it sound cool, fine tune it to make it sound a little cleaner, and then you'll be good to go. I'm going to do some undos here. And there we go. Cool. And I guess after you're done beating your head against the wall and whatnot, put some drums on it. I'm gonna see if I can play a little bit of this. Nothing special going on with these drums except for just an analog tape channel strip provided by Ableton. So really simple stuff. Just whatever. Add some flair on it a little later, you know. Five internet points if you know where that's from. But yeah, throw a little cool stuff in there. Don't go like just pick a one sample and just roll off that one sample. Just expand out your mind and do some cool stuff. That way it can be more interesting to listen to. I mean, I guess with that being said, here's this thing. Actually, you know, we'll start it off kind of cool like this. I'm 32-bit, and I'm here to show you how to make awesome beats. The rap game needs revitalization, and interesting stuff. I can do all of that. And I'll show you how to do it right So I guess there you have it. It's very all over the place as far as how I explain it, but I think you get the picture because you're smart and you loyal, and I respect you. So if you found this video helpful, like, comment, favorite, subscribe, all that jazz. And let me change the title of this. But I'll be trying to do more uploads as the days go on. Of course, I have a 9-to-5 job, so I can't really do hang on, behind the seat, very, very simple sampling. Yep. So I can't really do like streams every single day like I kind of want to, and I know this video is kind of like long-winded already, but just wanted to throw this out there for me to get better at doing this kind of deal and hopefully teach somebody some stuff. We're all growing together, so why not just have a little fun with it? Because sampling's fun. I like it, and there's a good chance that I probably did some copyright infringement. I'm not really sure. You tell me in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you, and thanks for watching. Oh yeah, and OBS software is the best streaming software alive when it doesn't crash. See ya.